Now we're going to do division for decimals. And specifically, we're going to do long division of decimals. And I'm going to assume that you have not done this in a while. Without using a calculator, do you remember how you were taught to divide decimal numbers? Maybe you were, maybe you won't, but this will be a nice review. So what you're going to do is you have the divisor and you have the dividend. So like in these problems, these are the divisors, 2.5 and 1.25. They're the ones doing the dividing. And what's underneath the long division symbol there, those are the dividends. Those are the things that are being divided up. So what you were probably taught to do was make the divisor a whole number, which means you're going to divide, or you're going to move the decimal over to make it look like a whole number. So I would move the decimal for 2.5, I would move it over once to make it 25. But if you move the decimal on the divisor, you also have to move the decimal on the dividend. So if I move this over once to the right to make a whole number, I have to move this decimal once to the right. And I was taught that you immediately go up and put the decimal up there in the right spot for your quotient. So we're moving one place to the right, this and this. And then you just divide it as though it were whole numbers. So if we want to jump into the long division, we can say, well, how many times will 25 go into, you could call it 530. You could do 25 dividing into 53. I guess you could start with that if you wanted to. I just jumped and did 25 divided into 530. You can do that. You don't have to stop off at the first one. And I said, well, it goes in there 21 times. 21 times 25 is, let me see if that's right. 21 times 25. Yeah, 525. Seemed like it wasn't right there for a second, but it is. 525, and then we're going to subtract. 530 minus 525 is just 5. And then you carry down your 8. And how many times does 25 go into 58? Well, it goes in there twice. 2 times 25 is 50. And from here, you might have also been taught to just add a bunch of zeros. You're just going to be bringing down zeros at this point until you can see a repeating pattern or until this thing just stops, terminates. 25 goes into 80 3 times. 3 times 25 is 75. Get a 5 there. Carry down a 0. 25 goes into 50 twice. This is going to do it where we get no remainder. So actually this one terminates. So when you divide, you get 21.232. Again, I kind of skipped a step by dividing 25 into 530, but you could have stopped off at 50, said 53, said 25 goes in there twice, you get a remainder of 3, carry down your 1. You get the idea. Okay, but there you go, long division. The idea here, the big takeaway, is moving that decimal over so these will act more like whole numbers. So for 1.25 divided into 4.4, we'd have to move the decimal over 2 places. So we have to move it 2 places on this dividend as well. So if I go 1, 2, if I move it 2 places, I have to fill in with a 0. And then again, you can fill in with more zeros there at the end if you want to. So 125, if you divide that into 440, it'll go in there 3 times, I believe. Let's see, I'm going to double check that. 125 times 3. Yep, 375. If you subtract 440 minus 375, 440, I've just got a little calculator over on the side I'm using. You get 65. Carry down a 0. So 650 divided by 125 goes in there 5 times. Here's my decimal. 5 times 125, that's going to be 625. Get a remainder of 25. Carry down a 0. How many times does 125 divide into 250? It goes in there twice. And we're going to get another one with a remainder of 0. So again, the big takeaway here is if you move the decimal once on the divisor, you move it once on the dividend. If you move it twice on the divisor, you move it twice on the dividend, and then you got to make sure that you get your decimal in the right spot for your quotient. But that's how you divide decimals using long division.